If you watch videos on YouTube and find yourself struggling to keep up with the amount there, or you need to get some summaries or more information from them, Dia excels in this regard. So here's an episode of Mac Power Users talking about the Finder. And if I come down and take a look at this description, I just want you to take note of the chapters that are there. They're quite long, especially the fourth one onwards. We're going to play about with that shortly. Now I'll click on chat. And you'll see that by default, we have different skills available because it's not a standard web page. This is YouTube. So the skills are different. I can get the top quotes from the episode. I can build a table of contents or get a recap. You can also from here summarize the video and get timestamps of the key points. Let's click on top quotes and see how that performs. Okay, that didn't take long. And I could see here some of the top quotes from the episode, alongside a timestamp for when it was said, and I can play it from here as well, which is pretty good. Now, if I hover over to the right, I can ask a further question about this particular quote. So I'll do that. Who is being referred to here? And after a short time, it tells me they were talking about Claude. Okay, if you want to start a new chat in the window, you can press Shift, Command and E. And we'll go again. This time I'm going to get a table of contents. Now this is why I showed you the chapters in the description. Here we have a slightly more detailed list, much smaller intervals between the sections, which might suit me more if I need to dive in and out of this at different times. Let's build on this a little bit more. I'm going to ask it to list the chapter names and timestamps only and not the summaries, because I don't need those. I can work out what's going to be in these new chapters. I just want the names. And I'm quite pleased it did this because I totally expected it. I called them chapters because in my head, I referred to that last output as chapters. But in Dia's head, it referred to the chapters themselves as chapters, like the official YouTube ones. And it's perfectly right to do that. It's going to do exactly what you ask. So let's be more detailed. No. Please list the titles from the table of contents you created with timestamps and not summaries. And that is much better. If I wanted, I could ask Dia to export this as a markdown list for copying into Obsidian, for example. I've got a different video up at the moment, and this time what I'm going to do is upload a file and ask questions based on both the file and the contents of the video. So to add a file, I'll click on plus. And I'll come down to the bottom where we can upload a file from computer. Now this file here, if I press space to quick look, it's just an example of an assessment document about the subject of AI. And I'm going to ask Dia about whether anything in this article is referenced in the video. So I'll click open here. And I can see we have two reference points now for our prompt, the PDF and the video. So I'll ask the question. Are any of the points raised in this report mentioned or discussed in the video? And the response was pretty quick. I didn't need to pause for too long there. It says that the video and the report do overlap in several key areas. And as I come down, I can see some timestamps I can go to investigate further. It's a pretty good breakdown in all honesty. And of course, this is just one hypothetical scenario here. But I'm sure you can think of plenty of use cases for this particular feature. Now, when it comes to looking back at previous chats, Dia, of course, keeps a history. And if I come up to history in the menu bar, there's a section towards the bottom called recent chats. And we can see those ones we've carried out in the video here. Then underneath, see more. This is the date I'm recording this, and we've got all of the others there. So if you want to get back to your chat history, this is a quick and easy way to do it. Okay, let's move on to looking at skills in more detail. So here we have a BBC News article on limiting screen time for under fives. Some good reading there and food for thought, for sure. Now, as this is a standard news article, we've got three skills here ready to go. There's a table of contents, we've got top quotes and summarize, all of which we've seen. Now, for a full list of skills, type in a / and a list appears. You can use your mouse or trackpad to scroll them. So this is the general section here. Then below that, we've got some skills for writing content in Dia. We have our 3 prompts for videos. And then down here, we've got some for coding. Here we can learn about how to use skills. And then at the bottom, we can create a brand new one. To filter this list based on existing ones, just keep typing and the list filters there. So I'll press return and the skill executes. Now here in this new window, we're going to look at discovering some new skills. I'll type in diabrowser.com/skills. And this takes us to a skills catalog where people can submit skills that they've created. And there are some good ones in here. At the top, we've got one to fact check a news source. So I'll click see more to find out some more about it. There's a short animation playing there. So essentially, it's going to execute a prompt that asks for the current tab to be fact checked. If I click try this in Dia, then a pop-up appears telling us exactly what is in that prompt. It's quite detailed, and I can scroll to see the full text there. So this is one that I've started using myself a little bit more. And if you want to use it without adding it to Dia, you can click use skill and then search for one of your open tabs to run it against. So I'll go for that BBC article. Now I'm going to let this run, but being the BBC, I would like to think this is almost bulletproof when it comes to fact checking. Okay, so about 30 seconds later here, and we have an executive summary at the top. It's given it a credibility score of 90 out of 100 there. It's not quite bulletproof. And it then goes through each claim, giving it a verification status and some more information there. So one example of using a skill in Dia that isn't installed by default. Back in the skills catalog here, and as we come down, you'll see some recommended skill packs there. So I'll select one, make the most of your browsing history. And in here, there's a skill to summarize the last 24 hours of work. There's one to take a glimpse of what happened this week. There's a reflection one here. Let's see what's in this. So as I come down, I can see the prompt that will be executed there. It's quite a detailed one. It takes the active tab and then uses your search memory to ask you questions that help you reflect. Pretty clever. Not for me though, I don't think. I'm going to come back. And again, where if we come down, you'll see a section where you can explore skills based on the category or just search for them. And then they're listed as you come further down here. And there's actually 11 pages of them, so lots to experiment with. Now, to help ensure that I understand half of what my children say, I quite like this Gen Z translator. So the prompt is to take the selected text, which will be some form of Gen Z slang, and then translate it into plain English that I can understand. So I'll come up and I'm going to try this in Dia. And this time I'll add a skill. And it shows me the prompt there. Now I could click to create the skill, but I'm actually going to just copy the text here to my clipboard. Now the reason I've done that is if you decide to go into advanced mode and edit the prompt a little bit more, I found that it actually wipes the prompt text from there, which I don't actually want. So I'm going to paste it back in. What you can do here is build on the prompt by adding some more text if you wish, or changing the existing. You can try the skill before you add it. Down here, you can add tabs or files permanently to the prompt, so they're always included in the summary. You can change what the inputs from the text will be. And if you want, you can add some more steps as well and really build this out. I'm going to delete that. And then if I click on this grid up here, we can see all of our skills, and this new Millennial Me one is there at the top. So let's see it working. I'm on a site here that uses the slang phrase touch grass, which I can kind of glean the meaning from the context of the site. But I'd like to use Dia to confirm and our new Gen Z translator skill. So I'm going to select the text. It's added to our chat. So I'll type in a / and just use the arrow keys and the enter key to select it. It's running and it comes back very quickly with the translation. So touch grass means to log off and go and live in the real world for a bit. And it gives some examples of how it can be used. Quite a fun use of a skill there.